Episode 5 of Gen V didn't just raise the stakes, it flipped everything we thought we knew upside down. Small clues, secret alliances, and shocking choices are hiding in plain sight, and fans are already connecting dots that could completely change the rest of the season. What if the answers to the finale are already right in front of us, buried inside Episode 5? Episode 5 wastes no time throwing us deeper into chaos. Characters we trusted are suddenly keeping secrets, and the world around them feels more dangerous than ever. One of the most important things about this episode is how it carefully blurs the line between friend and enemy. Nothing feels stable anymore, and that's exactly why theories are exploding across fan circles. If Episode 4 was about setting the board, Episode 5 is the move that shakes the table. The biggest cliffhanger revolves around the idea of loyalty, who is truly standing with whom. In earlier episodes, alliances felt shaky, but now they're collapsing right in front of us. This is where the writers are clever. Instead of giving you ask clear answers, they give us fragments, little pieces of dialogue or reactions that seem ordinary at first but carry heavy meaning when you think about them again. This leaves the audience in a constant state of doubt, and that doubt is the fuel for theories that we also see a stronger connection to the boys' universe. Episode 5 sprinkles subtle references, almost like breadcrumbs, reminding us that what happens here is not isolated. It's all part of a bigger, darker story, whether it's through mentions of Vought, quick Easter eggs hidden in conversations, or even the way characters react to news outside their immediate circle. The message is clear. Episode 5 is about reminding us that the larger world is watching and that bigger forces are at play. Fans who pay close attention will notice how these breadcrumbs can point toward future conflicts not just in Gen V, but also in the boys. Another key detail in Episode 5 is how it shifts focus to inner struggles. Several characters are torn between their identity and the expectations placed on them. This doesn't just create emotional tension, it also sets the stage for unpredictable choices in later episodes. When someone is pushed to their breaking point, they either rise to the occasion or break completely. Episode 5 places multiple characters right on that edge, and the consequences of their choices will ripple far beyond just one episode. That's why so many theories revolve around who will snap first, who will betray, and who might even be hiding more than we already know. The pacing of Episode 5 is also worth noticing. It builds slowly, layering tension with every scene. Each conversation feels loaded with double meaning. Each look between characters carries unspoken warnings. By the time the episode reaches its final moments, the audience is left with no clear answers but a flood of possibilities. That's why Episode 5 works so well. It doesn't resolve, it destabilizes. And in drama like this, destabilization is the perfect setup for fan theories to explode. One of the most intriguing parts of this episode is how it plants seeds of mistrust within the group. Characters who once stood united now seem to carry doubts, suspicion, or even hidden motives. These cracks are exactly what fans are digging into. Because in a show like Gen V, no character's journey is straightforward. The writers enjoy twisting expectations, making the audience feel secure and then ripping that security away in the next moment. Episode 5 is the strongest example of that approach yet. This is why Episode 5 stands out as more than just another step in the season. It's the turning point where the story transforms from questions about what is happening to what will this all lead to. Theories aren't random guesses anymore. They are built on the foundation of these carefully placed cliffhangers and character decisions. Every small clue matters, every betrayal, every whisper, every shadow on the wall could be pointing toward the explosive direction the season finale is heading. One of the strongest theories coming out of Episode 5 is about the uncertain future of one particular character, the one who seems to be caught right at the heart of every twist. Fans are starting to believe that this character isn't just another piece on the board, but might actually be the key to how the entire season will end. Episode 5 doesn't outright confirm this, but it gives us just enough to start connecting the dots. Throughout this episode, we see small changes in the way this character reacts to the chaos around them. They are no longer just responding to the danger, they are beginning to anticipate it. That shift is huge because in the earlier episodes, they often seemed overwhelmed or pushed around by larger forces. Now, though, there's a new energy in their actions, almost as if the writers are showing us the very beginning of their transformation. If this continues, we could be watching the rise of a future leader, or perhaps the fall of someone who cannot handle the weight of their destiny. One theory suggests that this character is being set up as the hidden ace, the one who will step into a role no one expects. Episode 5 quietly places them in situations where they have to choose between their friends and their own survival. These moments might seem small on the surface, but they add up to something powerful. The idea that the character's future depends on whether they embrace their darker impulses or fight to protect what little innocence they have left. It's this clash between light and dark within them that fans are latching onto. Could this be the story of someone becoming the hero we never saw coming? Or is it the slow reveal of a tragic downfall where betrayal feels inevitable? What makes this theory even stronger is the way Episode 5 mirrors themes we've seen before in the boys' universe. Time and again, we've watched characters wrestle with power, how it corrupts, how it tempts, and how it isolates. This character now stands at that exact crossroads. They have been given opportunities to gain power, but every step closer to it threatens to strip away their humanity. The writers don't make this obvious. They hide it in the silences, the stares, and the quiet moments that most viewers might overlook. But fans paying close attention know that these are signals, hints of what's to come. Some fans even argue that the future of this character could tie directly into bigger storylines outside of Gen V. Imagine if their choices in the next episodes ripple outward, influencing events in The Boys itself. Episode 5 leaves this possibility open by planting just enough references to the larger world, making viewers question whether this person will end up being a bridge between the two shows. If true, that would make their journey not only central to Gen V but also critical to the entire franchise. Another part of the theory focuses on loyalty. In Episode 5, we see cracks forming in relationships, not just within the group, but also in how this character sees authority figures and supposed mentors. The seed of doubt has been planted. Once a character starts doubting who they can trust, the story can spin in any direction. Will they decide to stand against the people who try to control them, or will they fall into the trap of trusting the wrong ally at the worst possible moment? The suspense of that choice is what has fans writing long threads, debating late into the night, and rewatching scenes frame by frame. This theory thrives on uncertainty. Every move this character makes feels like it could be their last as an innocent, or their first as something entirely new. The brilliance of Episode 5 is that it never answers the question outright, it only tightens the tension. By the end of the episode, we are left with a character who looks more unpredictable than ever. And that unpredictability is where the best fan theories come from. At its core, this theory is about transformation. Transformation can mean growth, or it can mean corruption. And Episode 5 carefully dances on the line between the two, keeping the future hidden just enough to keep us guessing. That's why fans are convinced this character is the one to watch, because no matter what happens next, their story is going to reshape everything we thought we knew about the season. One of the most exciting parts of Episode 5 is how it throws suspicion on people and groups that once seemed trustworthy. Suddenly, small actions, unexplained decisions, and even offhand comments begin to feel loaded with hidden meaning. This has sparked a massive fan theory that one supporting character, or perhaps the organization pulling strings behind the curtain, has been operating with a secret agenda all along. When you rewatch Episode 5 carefully, it's clear that certain scenes don't add up unless someone is deliberately holding back information. For example, a character might offer help at just the right moment, but their timing feels too perfect. almost as if they knew what was going to happen before anyone else did. Was it luck, or was it a sign that they're quietly guiding events for their own hidden purpose? This theory takes those odd coincidences and builds a picture of manipulation happening right under everyone's nose, the most popular version of. The theory claims that the organization tied to Vought has never lost control of the situation, even if it appears chaotic. On the surface, it looks like the story is spinning in unpredictable directions, with students and allies making bold choices that defy authority. But episode 5 subtly hints that the chaos may be part of the plan itself. A look here, a document. There, or a single line of dialogue can be enough to make you question whether. Another layer to this theory is the role of the supporting character caught in the middle of all this. They seem helpful, maybe even loyal, but their actions are strangely inconsistent. In one moment they appear protective, but in another, they hesitate when trust is most needed. Episode 5 pushes this inconsistency further, showing us cracks in their loyalty. Could it be nervousness, or is it guilt? Fans are wondering if this person has been quietly reporting everything back to the people in power, making them less a friend and more of an undercover handler. What makes this theory especially chilling is how it connects to the larger themes of the boys' universe. We've seen again and again how corporations, secret labs, and shadowy groups use people as pawns. Episode 5 fits perfectly into that tradition, but it adds a twist. The pawns themselves are beginning to sense the truth. This creates a dangerous tension. Once characters realize they might be manipulated, they're left with two choices: break free and expose the hidden agenda, or play along and risk losing their identities in the process. Fans have also noticed that episode 5 makes clever use of silence. The supporting character or the organization in question often says less than you'd expect, giving vague answers when pressed for clarity. It's almost as though they want to avoid lying outright, but also refuse to reveal too much. That silence can be more suspicious than any obvious betrayal, because it forces the audience to question, what are they hiding? Theories grow in those gaps, in the places where information is missing. Some fans take this idea even further, suggesting that the hidden agenda isn't just about control inside the university or within this group of young soups. Instead, it could be a test. Episode 5 might be showing us that the chaos is staged, designed to measure who breaks, who thrives, and who can be shaped into the kind of weapon the organization truly wants. If this is true, then every victory and every failure we've seen so far is nothing more than part of a larger experiment. That would reframe the entire season in terrifying ways, not as a story of rebellion, but as a carefully orchestrated lab trial. The power of this theory lies in how episode 5 keeps everything just vague enough to support it. The writers don't tell us who's lying or why, but they leave breadcrumbs pointing in several directions. A document shown on screen for a moment, a quiet glance exchanged when no one else is watching, or a decision that makes no sense until you assume manipulation is involved. These are the clues that fans are dissecting. And because the evidence is subtle rather than obvious, it makes the theory even more thrilling to explore. By the end of episode 5, the audience is left doubting not only the motives of this supporting character, but the motives of everyone. That's the genius of it. Once a hidden agenda becomes possible, trust completely unravels. Theories about betrayal spread like wildfire because betrayal is the one twist that never goes out of style. And if the theory is right, then the story we're watching is less about young heroes finding their place and more about them being dragged deeper into a web they can't escape. This is why Theory has gripped so many viewers. It doesn't just predict a single shocking reveal, it suggests that the entire narrative is being driven by forces the characters can't even see. And if that's true, then everything we thought we knew about Episode 5 might only be the surface of a much darker plan. Episode 5 leaves behind a trail of subtle but powerful signals that something much bigger is brewing beneath the surface, something personal, something that could tear the group apart from the inside. Among all the fan discussions, the most explosive theory is that a shocking betrayal is just around the corner. Not from a faceless villain or some far-off corporation, but from someone the characters already trust. The idea that one of their own could turn on them adds a layer of tension that makes Episode 5 feel like a fuse burning toward an inevitable explosion. This theory works because Gen V has always been about blurred lines. Heroes who act like villains, villains who wear the mask of saviors, and friends who hold secrets sharp enough to cut down the very people who lean on them. In Episode 5, we see multiple characters acting in ways that could easily be reinterpreted as foreshadowing betrayal. A look that lingers too long, a hesitation before helping, or even a line of dialogue that seems innocent at first but grows darker when replayed in your head. The writers know that audiences are watching closely, and they feed this paranoia with precision. One of the strongest signals of betrayal comes from the way loyalty fractures across the group. Episode 5 pushes each character into situations where they must choose between honesty and self-preservation. Some choose honesty and reveal pieces of themselves, but others remain guarded. The difference between those two responses matters. It's often the most guarded character, the one who avoids direct answers, who ends up being the one hiding the most. Fans are pointing out that this exact pattern has played out in The Boys before, where the quiet characters later became the ones with the deadliest secrets. What makes the betrayal theory even more believable is how Episode 5 emphasizes trust as both a weapon and a weakness. Characters are shown relying on each other in ways that feel desperate, almost fragile. And when trust feels fragile, it only takes one act of treachery to shatter it completely. Imagine what would happen if the person they've leaned on the most is the very person reporting back to VOD, or even worse, manipulating them for reasons we haven't discovered yet. That single twist could undo everything the group has fought for, leaving them more isolated and vulnerable than ever before. Another angle fans are exploring is the possibility of a secret reveal, one that redefines who a character really is. Episode 5 is filled with moments where people hint at pasts they've never fully explained. A slip of the tongue, a name dropped at the wrong moment, or a memory that doesn't quite line up. These are narrative cracks that suggest something bigger is being hidden. If a character's entire identity is based on a lie, then Episode 6 or 7 could deliver the bombshell moment when that truth finally comes out. And when the truth comes out, it's often treated as the deepest betrayal of all. Some even speculate that the betrayal won't come from a single character, but from multiple ones acting in quiet coordination. What if two characters we assumed were enemies of the system are actually working together behind everyone's backs? Episode 5 sets up just enough strange alliances and unexplained coincidences to make that theory possible. It would be the kind of twist that not only shocks the audience but also forces every character to question whether anyone can be trusted at all. The genius of Gen V is that betrayal doesn't have to be dramatic to feel devastating. Sometimes it's not a knife in the back but a whisper in the wrong ear that does the most damage. Episode 5 leans into this idea by showing us fractured relationships and broken trust without fully revealing who the traitor might be. The uncertainty is what keeps fans buzzing, not knowing if betrayal will strike in the next episode, the finale, or perhaps in a way that stretches into the larger The Boys storyline. If this theory proves true, the betrayal will not only reshape the group dynamic, but also change the way we view the entire season up to this point. Every choice, every bond, every heartfelt moment could be reframed as part of a setup leading to this reveal. That's what makes Betrayal such a powerful storytelling tool. It forces the audience to question their own loyalty to the characters, and to wonder if they should have seen it coming all along. Episode 5 ends with enough tension and unanswered questions to make this theory more than just speculation. It feels like the groundwork for something devastating has already been laid. The only question left is not if betrayal will happen, but when. And when it does, the fallout will leave scars on both the characters and the audience, the kind of scars that keep us talking long after the episode fades to black.